Gator Dave. We're back. Oh, man. College football time. So much fucking. These are all sports cards. They're going out. If you haven't gotten something from us yet, and you got something recently, they're going out. Gator Dave is getting a drink, everybody. So we're just holding on for Gator Dave. Pray he makes it back all right. If you're into that sort of thing. Let's see. Pull this up. Hey, we timed that pretty good. You sat down right when I stood up. We are live right now, Gator Dave, just so you are aware.
All right. Good to know. All right.
Just editing the title really quick on the YouTube. And we'll get it started.
I'm trying to pull up your info so I can be looking at your picks when we're looking at my picks.
Yeah, I'll be able to. I'll get that graphic done by week 1 so that we're able to get the picks up on the board like we had them last year. I just haven't figured out how to get them with this new. We're switched over a little bit. We're trying, some different things this season. So hopefully we can tighten it up.
My boy Don from Oklahoma wanted to know what I was drinking. So we're starting with Dry Country Blueberry Lemonade Vodka.
Okay.
And we're gonna back that up with an old fashioned with Bullet Rye. So.
I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, let me see.
Hey, does that sound any better out there, Mr. Birmingham in Oklahoma? Give me a text there, buddy.
Yeah, Scott, I see you in the chat, brother. How's the chat or the sound coming through for Gator Dave right now? I'm away from my mic, so it might be a little for me, but how is it for him?
Let's see. Yeah, he's sending expletives, so I'm not going to read what he said, but he did say it was better. So I don't know if it's my mic or
we'll take better all day long
today, but we're better.
We'll take better all day long.
Absolutely.
All right, let me get this back up here. All right, man.
Ready to rock?
Welcome back.
We're ready to start the NCAA season going again with Gator Dave and Miami Mike. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Somebody clip that. That's the new intro.
That's it, man.
I love it.
So, just kind of get everybody up to speed. Of course, it was wasn't the year expected for either of our teams, but we both turned out happy with our coaching selections. I think you guys got your guy you wanted, and I got the guy I wanted, and man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been this stoked for a season since Shoot, man. I mean, I would say Mark Richt, honestly. Mark Richt, I thought, was going to do some stuff for us, but it didn't go that way immediately or overall anyway. But I feel like Mario is the guy. He's a perfect
I think
fit.
he's the perfect fit.
Absolutely perfect fit for us. He's an O-line guy, so that's been our biggest weakness for the last 20 years. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Billy Napier I think he's a good fit too for the Gainesville area and fanhood that you guys have. I feel like he's going to be able to relate pretty easily and help recruiting along a great deal.
I agree. So we're very excited. We'll see if he can coach. Both have come out of the block screaming at number 9 and number 10 in the recruiting ranks. So got us both happy. But we'll see what happens on the field and see if they can put anything together. Obviously, after our season last year, we got a ways to go. It's definitely serious rebuilding for our team, but I can't tell you how excited I am and looking forward to going down there for the Utah game. And Mrs. Gator Dave is hopefully headed down there with me, and we're pretty excited for that for sure. So
I'm sure.
You want to get kicking, or we're gonna start from the pinnacle and work our way down through the minutia, or how you want to do it there, Mike?
I didn't know you wanted to lead off with the ACC. We could do that.
Oh no. So you want to go to the leagues first, and then talk to others later, right?
Yeah, I think so. So what we're gonna do for everybody watching, we're just breaking down the college football year as we see it, how we think it's gonna unfold. So we're breaking down the Power 5 conferences, who we think's gonna win the division on each side, who we think's gonna win the conference championship, ultimately who's gonna be in that playoff Final Four, and then who's gonna bring home that trophy. We're also going to give you some Heisman predictions. We both, I think, if I remember correctly, I think we might be onto the same page with that one. But we'll give you a Heisman prediction as well. And then we can actually talk a little bit about some win-loss ratios and totals, too, for all you fellow degenerates out there before this season starts. You might be able to get something in time.
Absolutely. So do we start with A's? I'll make you feel good, and we'll start with A's.
No. We don't need to do that. We can save. We'll save your guys for last, because I know you're SEC whatever. Hey, Miami might be joining the SEC soon, there, big guy. So you count your days. It might be over with for old Gainesville.
Well, I don't think it's going to be over
sooner than later.
If as we're chatting here, my theory is that the Big Ten gets 2 more, and if they get I think it's going to be, if they can get Notre Dame, and then Oregon is probably, if they get Notre Dame and Oregon, I think they're set, and then I think it could force our hand to grab Clemson and Miami. I think that's the ticket.
So you want mine? As you want my prediction? I think Notre Dame stays independent because there's way too much money in it, and they're just gun-ho on, Notre Dame is Notre Dame. I think you're going to get Washington and Oregon that are going to join the Big Ten for sure. Yeah. But then I think the future of the SEC is going to be Clemson, like you said, Miami, Florida State, and North Carolina. I think adding those 4 from not just a football standpoint, but from an overall athletic standpoint, I think those would be the right fit for the SEC.
Yeah, I just think that the SEC's got pretty much a big head, and they don't want to share much more. And I think it's a stretch for them to grab 2 more. I almost think if your theory comes out and Notre Dame doesn't go to the Big Ten, that SEC might stay put for a while, because Notre Dame's the big fish, and if they don't get that, I think, because the talk now is from Sankey is that he's staying put right now. He's happy because less teams to share the big money with, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to go SEC then. We're going to start with SEC.
Do you want to start with SEC or you want to save them?
Let's start with SEC. It's at the top of the page here. How about that?
All right, let's get after it. So we'll start on the weaker division side with the East. I'll let you lead it off. So how do you want to break it down? Do you want to go from top to bottom, or do you want to go?
Let's go from bottom to top. Okay.
All right.
And we'll go record and how they finished.
Gotcha.
So, scraping. Here's what I've got in my seven teams. So I've got the Vanderbilt Commodores scraping the bottom of the barrel at 2-10. I have Missouri Tigers at 4-8. I have South Carolina Gamecocks at 6-6 at 5th. I have the Tennessee Vols at 7-5 coming in 4th.
Oof.
I have the Kentucky Wildcats at 8-4 coming in 3rd. I have Florida at 8-4 coming in 2nd. And then, of course, Georgia going 12-0 coming in 1st. Now, the reason I made some changes at the end is that Kentucky is going to be without their running back for the first 3 games of the season. I had Kentucky ahead of Florida, but now I have confidence without that running back that we can beat them at home. Now, granted, Tennessee is going to be probably the toughest game that we'll win away. Let's put it that way, because I don't think we're gonna have trouble a couple other places like A&M for sure, and of course Jacksonville. But so I got us at 8-4, and the only reason they're ahead is because Kentucky's not gonna have that running back, and we're playing in the swamp. So what say you, Mike?
I'm pretty close with you for the most part. I mean, I think Vanderbilt's definitely going to finish at the bottom. I got them winning 3 games, though.
Ooh.
Instead of 2, improvement. Missouri, I still got at 4-8. I still think they're a little bit of a ways away. They got to get a couple more recruiting classes in. South Carolina, I got at 5-7. Same thing. I'm not sold on Spencer Rattler yet as being the savior of that program, so we'll see. I mean, I'd love for him to prove me wrong and ball out. But from what I saw last year, South Carolina, they need some work. They might need a culture overhaul here pretty soon. Kentucky, I got at 4th in the division at 7-5. Florida, I got 8-4. Tennessee, I got 9-3. I have them beating Florida. And that's sort of the deciding. I was sort of back and forth on that one, Dave. I know you and me talked about it a little bit prior. And I think the fact that Kentucky running back is out, y'all probably do win that game, which makes me sort of think even more so that probably that first one in Knoxville, that first away game is probably the one that you're gonna lose.
Yeah. So I think we're almost neck and neck there, and it's really going to come down to that game in Knoxville, and I it's hard with a close game that I think it's going to be a close game, but it's hard to say yet. I just don't know what we're going to be. So
right.
I mean, by the time we get to that game, and we're doing our show, then I think I'll be able to give a better projection for sure, because we'll have 3 games under our belt, and we'll know who we are at that point, whether we've lost or won or whatever. So
right. Yeah, that's gonna
sure.
those first. I mean, that first week is gonna tell you a lot about the situation of your pro. What did you call it the other day? Is it what kind of year is this for y'all? It's a practice year. Is that what
It's a practice year? Yeah.
Is that what
practice year?
It's terrible.
First year's a practice year.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I hope fellow Gator fans are
We go
watching
8-4
this,
in a
and I hope
practice
you
year, I'm
eat
happy.
him up in the comments for that practice year.
We'll
For the
see.
Florida Gators, a practice year? Sheesh.
We'll see.
And then the top of my division, obviously, I got Georgia, and I do have them undefeated. But I think that game in Jacksonville could be the one that, they may slip up on, especially if Florida gets hot at the right time or, Georgia's kind of looking past them. Watch out. There's a reason Kirby Smart doesn't want to play that game anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because he didn't want to play in Jacksonville. But it's we'll see. We got a long way to go, and we got one quarterback that's worth a damn. I mean, our season could be 8-4 if Richardson plays the whole year. If he doesn't, we could be 4-8.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the West.
All right, lead us off. What we got?
All right, so we're going to the West. We are starting at the bottom, and I am going with the lame duck Auburn Tigers at 4-8, at 7th in the West. Got Mississippi State Bulldogs at 6-6. I've got the LSU Tigers at 6-6, and I know we're not going to agree there. And then I've got the Ole Miss Rebels at 8-4. I think they're going to have a decent year. They probably did as well as anybody in the portal. Then I've got Texas A&M, who has a lot of expectations surrounding that program with what's going on, the big feud between Jimbo and Saban, and I just don't think he's going to get her done. So he's going to be at 8-4 in third, and Woo Pig Suey Arkansas Razorbacks at 9-3 at second in the West, and then I got Alabama, of course, undefeated, winning the West.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty much neck and neck still with you. We're seeing eye to eye this year, which is, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing at this point. Depending on how we did last year and our little showdown picks, it'll be interesting when week 1 comes around. But I have Auburn down at the bottom also. I got them at 5-7. Mississippi State, I got 5-7, so missing bowl games for both of those. But then the rest of the West, I think they're going to have a pretty good year. I think it's going to be pretty competitive from there on out. Texas A&M, I have at 9-3. I have Ole Miss at 9-3. Arkansas at 9-3. I have LSU at 10-2. So that was the disagreement that you were referring to. That's Yep. I think there's something about that first year head coach with guys that they already got on the team. Like talented dudes who just weren't getting coached right. They weren't getting utilized right. There's something about that first year head coach sort of magic where they just come in. I mean, strong potential, where they just come in and sort of, finally click those pieces together in those guys' heads to make them believe again and sort of buy back into the program. I think that could be, an opportunity for LSU. They got the quarterback from Arizona State.
Yeah, but I've done a little bit of backtracking on that one. I don't know if he's going to end up being the guy there. But they lost. The one kid's gone, so I guess he's going to be because
the other guy's in Texas A&M. He's fighting for that job. With Jimbo.
But one of the kids left the program.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
They had three. They had 3 quarterbacks. They had
and one left.
The guy that is the son of our old offensive coordinator. And then they've got the kid from Arizona State, and they had another guy who had been at LSU for a while.
Oh, yeah.
He left the program.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he got. Is that you talking about Miles Brennan, right? He got told that he wasn't going to start, so he just retired from football altogether.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of faith in this kid from Arizona State after what I'm hearing and seeing on some boards. So I'm a little wishy-washy. And one thing to point out, LSU's got, when you kind of compare the teams, LSU's got 55% blue chip rating. A&M's at 70. Let's see, Gators at 60. And then, of course, you got Georgia and Alabama at 79 and 89 blue chip rating. So I don't know. We'll have to see. And I'm just not a Kelly fan,
Oh no, I'm not either. I'm not a Brian Kelly fan at all. I think he's a clown.
Yeah.
And I think his time in LSU isn't going to last very long. But Orgeron knew how to recruit. He got some dogs down there. If Kelly can get him to play, and he got some transfers too to come in. If he can get those guys to play, they can still have a pretty decent season. They got a favorable schedule too.
Yeah, they got 7th ranked talent ranking in the land. So
yeah,
which is.
I mean, look. So quick run through for their starting couple games. This is the reason why I have them this way, Dave. So they lead off with Florida State. I mean, we know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
They play Southern. Then they play Mississippi State at home, New Mexico at home, at Auburn, Tennessee at home. That one could be, kind of a toss-up. And then I got them at Florida, which I think is also a toss-up between y'all. But for some reason, LSU, even when they have down years and they're not supposed to win that game, that's usually when they win that game, especially at the Swamp. And when you guys go to Death Valley, like that's the one that you win. It just doesn't make any sense. It's kind of that rivalry. But I think LSU could win that one. And then they play Ole Miss at home that next week, and then they got the bye. And then they sort of go through that Alabama juggernaut to sort of round out the season. I mean, I definitely think that they could get at least, looking a little more practically at it. I mean, 7 wins. 7, 8 wins.
It's possible.
10's a stretch. I'll admit 10's probably a stretch. But
again, it's we just don't know. It's just like Florida, man. We don't know. And the only reason I can make more assumptions about Florida is I'm a little closer to the program. So.
Right. Yeah. And then, so what do you think in the SEC championship? Let's finish off the SEC. Who do you got?
Obviously, Alabama and Georgia, and I think Alabama's going to squeak it out. Well, they won last year, but I think they'll win again this year. So,
I agree. I think at this point Saban has sort of circled that SEC championship game way ahead of time, and he's going to make that a big focal point as to because at the end of the day, both of them, Georgia and Bama, they got to get through each other to get to where they want to go. So they'll be prepared for sure.
If they're not undefeated going in there, it's going to be one. If they're not both undefeated, one of them's not going to probably end up going. So
right,
it's going to be.
It'll be a great game
for sure.
Yep.
All right.
What's that, like the 5th year in a row or something like that they've met in the SEC championship?
Yeah. Yes.
We need a little parody, Dave. We need a little parody.
Yeah, we do. We're working on it, man. Practice year. All right. Where do you want to go next?
Let's just go right down. We'll go down to Big Ten.
All right, Big Ten it
and
is.
Go right below it. I'll kick it off on this one.
What you got?
So we'll start with Ohio State's division. I'm sorry, Big Ten fans. I do not know y'all's division name. What is it, like Legends and something else, or did they change that finally?
They're back to East and West.
All right, I can respect that. All right.
That's East.
So we're going East. So Rutgers I got at the bottom. They're 2-10. Greg Schiano's back there. I love Greg Schiano. I think their turnaround year is next year. He's gotten some guys starting to go back in there, look at them for recruiting. I think their turnaround is next year. I don't think it's coming yet. So I got them at 2-10. Indiana, I got 4-8. They lost their quarterback. Their quarterback transferred to Washington. So I think we're going to kind of see the Indiana team that we're more used to seeing rather than the last couple of years. Maryland, I got at 7-5. Tua Tagovailoa, his brother's still the quarterback there. Lockley, is it still Lockley, the head coach?
Yeah, Loxley. Yeah.
Loxley. Yeah. Saban descendant, so he's going to have his guys ready. He's had a couple of years now, too, where he's got a couple recruiting classes. So I think they'll be bowl eligible, but I don't think they're going to make that huge of a leap yet. Penn State, I got at 9-3. Manny Diaz, their new defensive coordinator, our old head coach, I think will be the downfall for some of those games for Penn State. So I do have them losing 3 games this year. Michigan, I have at 9-3 also. I think the fact that they've lost a lot of assistants and a lot of players in last year, it's gonna be a factor. Michigan State, I got at 10-2. I think they're going to keep the train rolling. They had a good recruiting class last year. I think Mel's got them on the right mindset, right track. And then Ohio State, I got 12-0. I think Ohio State is just going to be way too good. Their schedule is way too easy. I think they're basically going to walk to the – we'll talk about it a little bit later, but, I mean, playoff Final Four I think has their name written all over it.
Absolutely. We're very close, except I've got a few more wins with some of the teams. I've got bottom of the barrel at Indiana at 4-8.
Okay.
Which you got them at 4-8 as well.
Yep.
But I think Rutgers is going to take a little bit of a step up.
You think this is the year, huh?
I think they're going to get to 5-7, man. They're going to knock on the door of a bowl, right? Maryland, I think is a game better. I've got them at 7-5.
Okay.
Again, like the nice quarterback, nice coach. Obviously, I can't recruit the studs like the big boys, but they're in that middle tier. 7-5 is not too bad. Then I've got very similar numbers. Penn State at 9-3. I agree with you there. I got them coming in at 4th. The place we're a little off is I've got Michigan State at 9-3 versus the Michigan. I kind of flip-flop those two.
Yep.
I just think Michigan State was a little smoke and mirrors last year. I think that even though Harbaugh lost his coaches, he's going to continue that push with the talent that he's got and end up 10-2. So those two flip-flop. Only off by one from what you looked at there, and then of course Ohio State at 12-0, just crammed, jam-packed, amazing recruiting, great quarterback, the best wide receivers in the business. They're going to be tough to beat. So
yep.
We're very close. Only a game or so off there, and a couple of plays different. So I'm kind of with you there on the East. Now, obviously, the West is quite a bit of difference as I looked at what we had. So, you want to go ahead and go into the West?
Yeah. I got Northwestern at 2-10. Pat Fitzgerald, he's been there for what feels like my entire lifetime. I think they're going to struggle again this year, unfortunately. I think he might be on the hot seat, too. I would hate to see him leave that program. He seems like a perfect fit, but we'll see. So I got them at 2-10. I got Illinois at 6-6. I think Brett Bielema is going to have those guys ready to go. I think they'll upset a couple people this year and become bowl eligible. Purdue, I got at 6-6 as well. I think they're going to have a down year. They lost some key pieces, and they got a tough schedule. It was hard for me to sort of even give them that 6, to be honest. So I know we're going to have a little discussion there. Minnesota, I got at 7-5. They honestly should have a much better record than that, but I've heard a lot of things about a lot of issues in that program from previous players at Minnesota about PJ Fleck and kind of who he is as a coach and how he condones himself and sort of makes everything about him rather than about his guys. And sooner or later, that sort of plays a toll. And if that's becoming public, you know that that's something that they've been talking about. I think that plays a factor on their season. I think they start off kind of good, but when they hit that rough stretch, I think it's going to be hard for them to bounce back because of that. Nebraska, I got 8-4. Cornhuskers, Scott Frost, he's finally going to do it for you. He's going to get you bowl eligible. He's going to I don't know. I can't even go any further with it. I'm shaky on it. I really want it to happen for you. You got a favorable schedule. Can you get it done? We'll see. Lost your quarterback, new quarterback coming in. Who knows? Wisconsin, 9-3. I got y'all finished in second. I could definitely see them winning 10 though, and potentially tying and maybe knocking this team out of the Big Ten championship, who I have finishing first, which is Iowa. I got Iowa at 11-1, but I do have a little note next to that Wisconsin game that could be one where Iowa could slip up and Wisconsin could sort of snag that division. Dave, How do you see that division going? Are we somewhat close? I know on one of them we're pretty far
we're
off.
all over the board on this one. So I'm saying Scott Frost won't make it through the end of the year.
Oh wow.
Because they are going 4-8, and
oh wow.
I have them 7th in the division. When I went through, I don't see it happening. I just, he doesn't got it.
4-8.
He just doesn't. So I have them
4-8.
4-8.
Hold on. Let's address that really quickly. Schedule. You ready for this?
Yes.
Week 1, they play Northwestern in Dublin. That's actually this Saturday that they play.
Mm-hmm.
They play in Dublin against Northwestern. Then they have North Dakota at home. Not North Dakota State, North Dakota. Then they have Georgia Southern at home.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see those 3 going right there?
Oh, I think they could win those 3.
Okay.
And it ain't going to get much better. It's
all right. Hold on. We're 3-0. Nebraska. We're giving Nebraska hope here, Dave.
Okay.
Oklahoma, they play next. They're not winning that game. So they're 3-1. They go into their bye. Then they have homecoming against Indiana at home.
That's their 4th win.
Okay. At Rutgers is the next week, a Friday night game.
Lose that one.
They're gonna lose that one. All right.
They're gonna lose the
Maybe on a fluke. It's a Friday night. I'll give it to you.
No,
so 4-2.
Lose the Rutgers.
And then I'm assuming that you think that they're based off of what you're gonna say in a second. They're gonna lose their next game at Purdue as well. Is that correct?
Oh, big time.
Okay. So 4-3. Then they got their last bye. They got Illinois at home. What do you think? Illinois? That might be the game right there then.
I have Illinois 6-6, so.
I mean,
Illinois.
if that's it, then they'd be 4-4 with Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Iowa.
Loss.
You think all 4 of those are losses?
4-8. There it is, big boy.
Oh, it does sound kind of good when you put it that way. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
Man.
And down in the cellar with them is Northwestern at 4-8. All right.
I mean, if he loses that Illinois game,
that's going to be the best game on for sure. Week 0 is going to be the Northwestern Nebraska game.
But you know who his new quarterback is, right? It's not Adrian Martinez anymore.
I know, he got rid of him.
Do you know who it is?
No.
It's the kid from Texas who started for Texas last year, Casey Thompson.
Okay. All right. How did Texas do last year?
Well, they did better than 4-8.
Not very good. Not very good. All right. Let's continue on. So then I have the Illini at 6-6.
Okay.
And then your Gophers at 8-4. Then I have your team that you're saying 11-1 at 9-3. I have Iowa.
Possible.
I have the Wisconsin Badgers at the same as you did at 9-3, and I have mark it down Miami Mike. Purdue Boilermakers at 10-2, winning that division. Mark it, sign it up.
So for those of y'all that were here at the beginning with us, Gator Dave let everybody know that he's drinking currently. As you see him take a chug. I think that we'll say that that's played a factor in this decision making here, because
so Mike, last year 9-4.
Break it down.
All right.
Break it down.
They returned 6 on offense, 9 on defense, so they got 15 coming back.
Okay.
They 46th rank in talent rankings, which is the only team that's really better than them on rankings is Iowa and Wisconsin by a smidgen.
Okay.
Just a very small margin. So, and many of the pundits are agreeing with me on this one. So, and that's where I'm going. I'm going Purdue.
I got you. So, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hope you're right. But some things that sort of gave me a red flag to Purdue are this. So their O-line is relatively young. First off, their oldest starting O-lineman is a junior. They do have 2 of them, but the rest are sophomores and freshmen. So that could play a factor. The biggest factor for me is under Jeff Brom, who's Purdue's head coach. While he's been there, this will be his 6th year. They've only finished at home 500 or better record-wise twice.
And I believe last year was one of those, correct?
Correct. Last year they went 4-2. And the same with away record.
Pretty decent QB too. You're forgetting that one, right?
Well, if he stays healthy, yeah. I mean, he's a senior. He should be. He's been there 5-6 years at this point with the COVID thing. So, I mean, they are returning 7 on offense starters, and 7 on defense that were starters from last year. So they have a chance. Their schedule is favorable if they can get it going early, but they open with Penn State on a Thursday night. I think that's going to tell you a lot about how their season's going to go. If they win that game, I mean, they could easily go on a run where, they're 6 or 7-0. If they lose that game, I think that opens the door for some of those teams. I mean, even so, I mean, their schedule is very favorable looking at it. They have two real challenges on their schedule between Wisconsin and Iowa, and the rest are sort of games that they're supposed to win, but there might be some Big Ten things here and there.
And the thing, Mike, about this team is that this isn't a team that just suddenly did well last year. They've had that progression.
Right.
3-4 years ago, they were winning. They'd win one big game and then they'd suck a couple. They've had a decent progression over the last few years.
Well,
it's that time.
I wouldn't. Well, let's talk about their progression. So 2017, first year that Brom got there. I mean, the years before he got there, they were abysmal. I mean, they were in the absolute gutter. But his first year in 2017, he went 7-6. 2018, he went 6-7. 2019, he went 4-8. And then 2020, the Big Ten only played half their schedule, so he went 2-4. And then last year, they turned it up and went 9-4. So I hear you. I hope that's the case. I'm just going more so off of history. But, it definitely could have changed. All that stuff doesn't matter for this year. This year's a new year. But I will say this, Dave. Purdue did lose their 3 leading receivers from last year, one of whom had 1,200 receiving yards. That's going to be a big piece to fill for those guys coming back.
True that.
But continue on, sir. So we talked Northwestern, we talked Purdue, we talked Nebraska, Minnesota. Who else you got? Wisconsin.
And we've hit most of them.
What did you say? Who's winning the division? Oh yeah, all right, got you. That was who we left off with.
That's easy money there.
So what do you think the championship? Ohio State beats Purdue, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then on my end, I have Ohio State beating Iowa in the championship.
All right.
So there's our Big Ten.
Yep.
ACC, the best conference in the
Let's
nation.
Move on to the junior conference. All right, here we go. No, the conference of quarterbacks.
That's right. We got some studs.
The conference of quarterbacks.
We got some studs.
So, you want to take this one? This is your conference. You start us off.
Okay. So we'll talk the Atlantic first. So that's Clemson, NC State, that side. We got Syracuse at the bottom. They're 2-10. It's going to be a rough year for Syracuse. Their head coach may be on his way out, unfortunately. I really like him, Dino. I really like the guy, but he might be donezo. Boston College, I have at 5-7. I have them just missing a bowl game. I think they're going to play hard. I think they're going to win some games that they shouldn't, but they're going to lose a lot that they should. So I have them at 5-7. Florida State, same thing, 5-7. They're not making it to a bowl game again this year. Tough shit. Get over it.
Yeah, but the Gleasons just are cringing, man.
It's bad. The fact that they, just to talk a little bit about Florida State, the fact that they hired, the fact that they hired him, Mike Norvell, but then not only have given him how many extensions since he's been there? I think he's had 2 or 3 already, and he's only been there
and he hadn't been there for 4 years.
It's insane. Yeah. It's absolutely insane. And he hasn't produced. All he's done is lose and make other. Thank you again, Florida State and Mike Norvell. You brought me my head coach. You brought me the chosen one. It wouldn't have happened without you. You're great. Never change, Mike Norvell. But Florida State, I think that they're going to have a terrible year again. It's awful.
I looked at their schedule. I feel the same way. But go ahead.
They have a semi-favorable schedule, but there's a real tough stretch that they got to go through. And then I do ultimately think that they're going to get back to 500 before they play y'all. And sort of be right on that 5-6 mark, trying to get in for a bowl game. And I think y'all just shut their lights out. I think it's just a murder in Tallahassee on that day. It's all bad for the Seminoles. And hopefully Jordan Travis comes back for his senior year, and Mike will start him because seniority.
Well, right now they have no quarterbacks basically coming in, so
yeah,
in their recruiting class.
We talked about it too. The one thing I don't want to see, again, Mike Norvell, you stay there as long as you want, brother. The one thing I don't want to see is Deion Sanders back in Florida State apparel on that sideline.
Yep. Agreed.
That's the one thing we need to avoid. So keep going, Mike. You're doing a great job. Next team I got is Louisville. I got them at 8-4. They got Malik Cunningham coming back. I think he has a big year. I think he puts up numbers. There's talks about him being a dark horse for the Heisman. I wouldn't go that far. He's not Lamar. He's good. He's very, very talented. But he's got some issues accuracy-wise and other things. So if he can correct those, big year for him, big year for Louisville. They got a pretty favorable schedule. But I think they're going to slip up a couple times when they're not supposed to, and they fall to 8-4. Wake Forest, I got at 9-3. I actually had them at 10-2 originally before Sam Hartman, their quarterback.
Right. I backed off as well.
Yeah, he's going through some shit. So I still think, Wake brought back a squad, though. They brought back pretty much damn near everybody from last year as far as starters. So I think they're going to come to play regardless. I think they're going to sort of put him on their back, and I think he ends up coming back at some point in the year too. Hopefully sooner than later. So I still have them winning 9 games. Could probably be more realistic and be closer to 8 with Sam. If Sam Hartman doesn't play, they're going to have a bad year. But I did this based off of him missing, maybe 2 or 3 games. NC State, I have it second. I got them at 10-2. I think they're going to have a bomb year. I think their defense is elite. I think that they're going to come to play. Their quarterback is arguably the best in the conference between him and Tyler Van Dyke. Devin Leary is a monster. They've brought back a ton of offense, ton of weapons from last year. Offensive line is going to be stout. NC State is going to be a problem. And then I got Clemson at 11-1, topping it off.
Yeah.
So
we're pretty close. So I went in. I didn't give Syracuse. No, I gave Syracuse a couple more games. I gave them 4-8, and I gave Boston College 1 less at 4-8 as well. So we're still cellar dwelling there, and I didn't. And I gave Florida State 1 more game. And I think, some of that had to do with some of the shuffling that went around. So I got them at 6-6 at 5th. Louisville, I've got it 6-6, and I'm leaning more. I think they're kind of closer to 7. because I'm starting to have a little bit more confidence in them as I see what they've got. So, but I've still got them coming in fourth. Wake Forest, you had it 9-3. I dropped them all the way down at 7-5, assuming that the kid's gone for the year.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
Dropped them all the way down to 7-5.
That's probably where they'll be if he doesn't play. So
yeah, I got a weird feeling about that one. So
yeah,
I've got them at 7-5 and coming in third. And then I'm with you. I got 10-2 on North Carolina State, and they're returning 17 stud quarterback, best defense in my opinion in that league, in the top 10 in the country.
Yep.
They could be the team. I mean, it's hard to fathom though NC State, right? It's hard to say NC State only loses one game or no game. It's almost hard to believe because we've never seen that from NC State, but from everything I'm reading and what folks are saying, it's a distinct possibility that they could win the whole ACC. So
for sure,
I've only got I've only got 4 teams in the ACC that I think can win the ACC and have any chance, and they're a strong candidate. But I think they're going to slip up, and I've got Clemson at 11-1 like you, and I think that's where it's going to come down to. And my opinion on Clemson is if DJ doesn't do his job adequately, he's going to get replaced real fast with a stud quarterback.
Yep.
That kid is for real. I think there's a very good chance by the third, fourth game of the year, we're looking at that kid starting unless DJ just tears it up. So a lot of people are worried about the quarterback play there, but I just don't think that I don't think they're going to let it get there. I think they're going to bring this kid in, and he's going to show up. He's going to ball out. So I got a Clemson at 11-1. I definitely don't have them undefeated. So
I got you. Yeah, I think they slip up
on the Atlantic.
I think Clemson slips up, like you said. They got a stud right behind DJ. If he doesn't play right, and Dabo has shown in the past, like he did with Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence, he will play who he thinks is the best.
Yep.
And looking at their schedule, I mean, it's very favorable. It's a Clemson schedule, but they do play NC State week 5 at home, October 1st. After playing at Wake Forest, if Sam Hartman plays that game, that's not going to be an easy game for Clemson at Wake. That could be a game where DJ struggles, and then if he struggles early in that NC State game, that's probably where I think Dabo would probably
the change gets made.
Would probably pull the chain. But on the Coastal side, I mean, I think you're right overall with the ACC. I think it's a 4-team race, 2 teams on each side that are really kind of going for it. On the Coastal, I have Duke at 2-10. No more Cutcliffe. The era is over. Duke is back to being Duke.
Yep.
Georgia Tech, I have at 3-9. I like their coach. I like Jeff Collins. I like what he's trying to do. I just don't know if he's actually the guy that can get it done for them. So I got Tech struggling again. He might be on his way out. He might get one more year, maybe. Virginia, I got at 5-7. I do not think Virginia makes a bowl game. If you look at who they have coming back, they've switched head coaches, but they've lost a lot of people also. So a lot of transition. For me, the one key consistent piece that they do have is their quarterback, Armstrong. He is back. He's been there for like 20 years. So he will be a good stud piece for them if he can stay healthy. And he can only carry them so far. So we'll see. I have them at 5-7. Virginia Tech, I have at 6-6. Same sort of thing. New head coach coming in. Fuentes is out. He's an old Vautech defensive player, and coordinator. He was there with Beamer. So he's sort of got, he's got that crystal ball to him where he knows what his program should look like. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get it back there. I don't think this is the year. I don't think it's going to be that quick. I don't think he has that much talent on that team. But we'll see if he can do it in the years to come. So I have them at 6-6. North Carolina, I have it third at 7-5. Again, lost a lot of guys. Mac Brown, it might be time for him to wrap it up here pretty soon and head back to the announcer booth. Maybe take over for Corso on game day.
They've only got 11 returning players, so
yeah, I think it's going to be a rough year for North Carolina, and it's going to put Mac on the hot seat to the point where he might get fired again from them.
And they lost their stud quarterback.
Yep, lost their stud quarterback, lost their stud running backs, lost their stud receivers. I mean, they lost a lot of pieces.
Well, you saw what happened last year when they lost the stud running backs. It wasn't all that. They were 7-6 last year.
I will say though, they do have their one stud wide receiver. He is coming back. I think his name is Dobbs. Well, let me double check.
I don't think that's gonna be.
I mean, no, for sure. But I've seen that kid play in person, and Josh Downs. That's his name. He's a sophomore.
Okay.
Josh Downs. Remember that name. Next year he will go to the draft. He's only a sophomore this year. But that kid is a baller, absolute baller. Number 11 wide receiver for the Tar Heels. In second of the Coastal, I have Pittsburgh, 9-3. Again, they lost a lot of guys, lost their quarterback. They replaced him. They got a transfer in from USC, Keaton Slovis. I think Slovin is not the guy, to be nice about it. I don't think Slovis has what it takes to walk into a program and go, yep, this is me, and sort of put that on, put him on his back and say, yep, you're my guys, I'm your guy, let's do it. I was not impressed at all with Slovis's play at USC. I mean, not impressed at all. The only games that USC won when he was starting was when he got benched, and Jackson Dart, who I think is at Ole Miss now, if I remember right.
Yes, that's right.
Is when he played. Jackson Dart won them those games. Slovis did not. So all these people that are, Slovis is going to get it done. He's transferred from USC. He's not that guy. He is not that guy, pal. So we'll see what they do, but luckily for Pittsburgh, they have a super easy schedule. So they could easily win 9 games. Easily. And then I got Miami at 10-2.
That's a surprise.
I have us at 10-2, but I think it's basically a toss-up between 9-3. I think anything less than 9 wins is honestly unacceptable, given the amount of talent that we do have on that team. Because I think Manny Diaz's squad could get 9 wins, so Cristobal's, staff better do the same thing. He's got nothing but studs. I think they get it done. 10-2. We finally, in the last year, Dave, of doing divisional play in the ACC, we finally win the division. Can you believe it? It's going to be amazing.
All right.
Well, granted, we did win one other time, but we got our asses kicked by Clemson. We got 35-3 in that championship game. We don't talk about that.
We'll let that sit there for a minute and let the audience enjoy, Miami.
Actually, that was Public House is in the chat. That was actually at his wedding, that ass kicking by Miami. I was in the back room watching us get absolutely destroyed on the TV, crying to myself while the reception was going on. I totally remember that. It was a sad yet happy day. It was mixed emotions that evening. Who do you have winning the ACC? I have a feeling, but
wait, I haven't gone through my list yet.
Oh shit! For the Coastal, go for it.
Yeah, because I have to rebut your list here. So, but
I know you do.
Let's start. We'll start at the bottom there, and where we're in agreement, knowing that the that Duke is going to pick up the cellar. I'm going to give them 3 wins.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm giving them
you're
3
talking,
wins.
Dude, you got to slow down on the drinks.
3 wins. I'm giving the Yellow Jackets 3 wins.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
6. The Cavaliers.
You're like Oprah right now. You're just tossing them around.
I'm giving the Cavaliers 7 wins, but still at 5th.
Oh, my goodness.
We're identical now. Virginia Tech, I got them coming in 4th. I'm giving them 7 wins as well. North Carolina, we are spot on at 7 wins. 7 and 5, 3rd. This is where we differ, my friend. So,
educate me.
I've actually got Miami going 9 and 3, which is only 1 less than what you were saying. And I also have Pittsburgh going at 9 and 3, which means
controversy.
The Pittsburgh-Miami game will be a win by Pittsburgh.
Oh, you're
Pittsburgh
nuts.
returns 15 more returnees than anyone. Granted, they don't bring back their quarterback, but granted, all they need is a game manager, and they will be fine, as they've got a pretty darn good defense and a stud coach. So I am saying
stud coach. Okay.
Market. Pittsburgh wins the Coastal. It comes down to Pittsburgh and the Miami game, and that decides it there. So, but you're close, Mike. It'll be close this year. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a bridesmaid, buddy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
So, before we go any further,
yes,
that game that you're speaking about, that Pittsburgh-Miami game that's going to come down to, is the very last game of the year.
True it is, and we're all going to be. I'll be at the Florida State game with Jared and Ian and Sean, and enjoying the win over Tallahassee State. And you'll be where?
And I'll be celebrating. I'll either be at that game. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go. I have season tickets, so we got to recoup the ROI.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a good game. I think being at home, we're going to show out.
But don't you think it comes down to that, though? That's our
yes.
difference. Don't
No,
you
yeah,
think
100%.
Right there, right?
100%. Yeah, that decides the division, in my opinion, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
we're really not that far off, and I'm being very nice to my hated Hurricanes.
Oh, you're
and giving you the bridesmaid.
No, you're being logical. But yeah, I mean, I think that our one loss ACC wise, I think, is going to come Clemson. Now, if we slip up somewhere along the way to a UNC or a Vatech or, God forbid, a Florida State, I mean, you can kiss it goodbye. It'll be Pittsburgh's division. So
yes.
I do think you're right. But the week before that Pittsburgh game, also we play at Clemson. That's gonna be a tough game. I am going to that one.
And you come out of there too torn up, and Van Dyke.
I really, that game specific. We'll talk more about it, as the season goes on. But that game specifically, I see us losing, like 33-31, like heartbreak at the end. Had a shot, fought the whole time. And then we lose. So, I mean, unless they get their minds right for that next week, it could definitely be a slip up, and then they slip it up right away, give it away.
Well, besides Texas A&M, you got your 2 toughest games at the end of the year. So
yeah, agreed.
It's going to be fun. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be smiling through all our shows because you've got these wins and you haven't played anybody like we do over in the SEC or played a top 10 Utah at the beginning of the year. So, all right, we'll move on from there.
Right.
I'm giving it to you, buddy. So, all right.
For sure. Well, to speak on the championship game, you have Clemson playing Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
Who do you have winning that?
Clemson winning that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Miami playing Clemson in that game.
Yeah,
And I have Miami winning the rematch, getting our revenge in that game. It's tough to beat a team twice in a year. That's all I'm saying. If we get there, it's tough to do it.
We'll see. We'll be there end of the year, baby.
We'll make some wagers.
Absolutely.
We'll have
Absolutely.
to. We'll have to.
When we get the shows going, we'll crank it up.
We'll get some
right.
showdowns going. All right, Big 12. Let's keep it pushing.
Let's go to the Big 12, and this is going to be interesting because we differ significantly, and
yes, we do.
You know, there's a couple of wagers. I might be wanting to wager on this division.
They're starting to look better in your mind. Keep drinking. I like this. You know what? Keep it going. Keep going.
Here we go. Let's start with the seller at Kansas Jayhawks at 2-10.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to beat Texas this year.
I agree.
So, but they're going 2-10. I got next up. I have the Iowa State Cyclones. What's that coach's name? Matt Campbell, is that his name?
That is his name. Yep.
Dude should have taken a job.
Yeah, he should have got out of there while he could.
The year before when he was hot, because he's about to be off the list.
Matt, you fucked up.
They're going 4-8 in my opinion.
You fucked up, Matt.
I got West Virginia at 5-7, 8th.
Oof.
I have Texas Tech Red Raiders at 6-6. So I am. We just really need to talk offline about this one. There's a lot of water about them being improved. What were they? Let's see.
New head coach, brand new head coach.
Yeah, and and remember how that goes. Remember how your theory there. So
yeah, they got 12 returning starters, 6 on offense, 6 on defense.
Yeah, last year they were 6-6. So they'll maintain.
They won their bowl game. They beat Mississippi State bad in that bowl game.
Yeah, and Mississippi State not that bad. All right. Next up, I have.
Hold on. What was the record you had Mississippi State having earlier this year?
Mississippi State. What did I do? They're second from the last.
Okay. All right.
They're 6-6, just like Texas Tech, but they're in the SEC, so they're much better than them. All right. So I've got Texas Tech at 6-6. I have Kansas State at 7-5.
Okay.
Then I have the infamous Texas Longhorns, which everybody is all Texas just because dude's got his recruiting class in the top 5 right now. Everybody thinks that's going to have an effect on the league, and it's not. Okay, last year they were 5-7. They ranked 65th in the poll at the end of the year. They are going to do better, but they're not going to do much better. 8-4.
Okay.
Then I got TCU. They're always stable team.
New head coach.
Not they don't get a lot of great recruits, but they'll be 8-4 at 4th. Then I have the Oklahoma Sooners, which everybody thinks again that we got a great recruiting class, we got a great coach, which is true.
Yep.
And we did do okay in the portal, but we lost some key players last year. So that team is not going to win the division. Then I've got Oklahoma State rolling in about where they were last year. Again, another good coach. They returned 12. Last year they finished 6th. I think they're going to do all right. At 10-2, they're going to come in balling.
Okay.
And the winner of the Big 12, I have the Baylor Bears coming in at 11-1 and winning the Big 12.
Whoa.
Yep. And I was struggling to figure out what game they were going to lose, but I just threw a loss in there.
You were struggling to see?
Exactly. Baylor Bears returning 14 from last year. They finished 5th last year. I think this coach for Baylor,
Dave Aranda,
is to me in the top 10 right now. In my opinion, I think we're going to see this year. He's going to finally get the notoriety because he's going to kick tail in the Big 12.
So
and
you
I know
think
that's not going to make my Oklahoma friends happy. They're on the call or on the watching us, but I think that's where it's going to be, Mike.
So you think Baylor is going to handle BYU at BYU? Week 2.
They will, yes, sir. Anything else?
You think they're going to handle Oklahoma State at home after Oklahoma State gets off a bye?
I think the two games they're going to have trouble, and they might lose, are Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. And it's probably going to be the Oklahoma State game.
Okay.
That's going to be the game they'll lose. I'm telling you.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, they got a shot at it. They got a shot at it. Dave Aranda is an awesome dude, awesome coach. So I mean,
I've
see
watched
it.
a lot of stuff on him
I
lately.
get it.
I've heard him. He is. I mean, you know, I hope Napier is at that level in 2 or 3 years in terms of the way he thinks. I think he'll. Obviously he'll be better because he's coaching the Gators, but sharp dude. Aranda's sharp dude. So.
Yep. Aranda is.
What say you?
Aranda definitely is. I don't know about the other one. So the conference I got Kansas at 2-10 also. They're not upsetting Texas this year, just like you said. Texas Tech 3-9. 3-9, Dave. That's what I got. Texas Tech.
Let's do that one offline. That's one I want to do offline.
Why? You got some inside scoop?
Between that and Baylor, because they're going to do better than 3-9.
No, they're not.
Tech and Baylor are the 2 teams we need to do side bets on there.
Texas Tech is not doing better this year. They got a first-year head coach. They're bringing back 6 offensive starters, 6 defensive starters. So they do have the majority of starters back on both sides. But it's just not.
Talent rankings 45, which for the Big 12's not that god-awful bad. I mean, it's going to happen, man.
So they have a little bit of a quarterback controversy there too right now because one of their guys left from last year, their initial starter, Columbia, and they got Donovan Smith and Tyler Show coming back. And Donovan Smith arguably was the better of the two as far as stats-wise. Show had a much better completion percentage. He almost threw for 70% completion. I mean, that's no slouch. But it is Big 12 defense though. That's our issue, and it is a first-year head coach in Lubbock. So is he going to get those guys to play? I don't know. Their O-line is
6.
O-line's relatively young. I think it's a toss-up. I think 6 wins is generous, but I think 3 wins is probably a little cruel. So I'd have to maybe I'll give them 4 or 5. I'll give them 4 or 5.
See, I've already got you edging up to 5, so which is only one less.
No. I said 4 or 5. 4 or 5.
We're so close.
Well, look, all right, you want to talk about it. Murray State, they'll win. Houston, they're going to lose. NC State, lose. Texas, lose. At Kansas State, lose. At Oklahoma State, lose.
Kansas State? Come on, man. Oh, at Kansas State.
That's amazing. At Kansas State, that's a wrap. That's a wrap for Texas Tech.
You know what the over-under is 5, Mike, on this thing, and you went 2 under. I just went 1 over, bro.
For what? Oh, Texas Tech's totals?
For Tech, man. Come on.
Nah, I'm at 3. I'm at 3.
That's a side bet, man.
I'm at 3.
They're gonna be.
I have Texas Tech under 5.5 wins actually on my semi-love list. I got a love list. I got a semi-love list. They made the semi-love.
All right.
Under 5.5. All right, back to it.
Yeah, your turn.
Iowa State, I got 6-6. I'm with you, Matt Campbell. I do have them making a bowl, so he might get 1 more year, but I'm with you. He should have bounced when he had the chance. He messed up. West Virginia, I got at 6-6 also. TCU, I have at 7-5. Their head coach is Sonny Dykes coming from SMU. So I don't think there's going to be too much of a drop-off transition-wise between Patterson and him. So I think TCU is going to do decent. When I say that, they're going to make a bowl game. I mean, they're not there yet, but they'll be on the right track. I like Sonny Dykes a lot. Kansas State, 7-5. Baylor, I got 8-4. I just think they end up losing a couple of tight games. I was looking at one thing in particular that I forget what it was now. Maybe it'll come to me in a little bit, the reason I did what I did with that. But looking at the schedule, and we just went over it a little bit ago, I mean, yes, I could totally see how they could get to 11 wins for you. But I could also see how they could get to 4 losses for me. So I think that one's just a toss-up.
True that. It's early in the year. We don't know what's going to happen.
We have no idea. We have no idea. We think we do. Next team I got is Oklahoma State. I got them at 9-3. I think they are going to have a bit of a drop-off just based off of their defense. So last year, Mike Gundy said that defense was the best that he had ever seen at Oklahoma State, he had ever had. They're only bringing back 4 starters from that defense. So it's going to be another Oklahoma State defense that's giving up 30-plus a game. Can that offense keep up? Maybe. Spencer Sanders has sort of he's been a roller coaster for real. I mean, he looks really good where he's like could be a first-round pick at some point, and then he looks so bad that you don't understand why he's still in the ball game. So they have a pretty favorable schedule. But again, that one's I put it on the defense. They're going to go how that defense goes. So I got them at 9-3. Texas, I got it 10-2. I think that they are gonna build on that momentum.
That's a big build, though, Mike. Where do you see?
It's really the schedule that they play. I mean, it's pretty favorable, and they have a lot of returning talent on that team. Texas, when Sarkisian came in, he had a lot of guys come in for transfer, but then, like you said, he's had a couple recruiting classes now where he can sort of get things going. They got hogs on that offensive line with those NIL deals. They got 7 returning starters on offense, 7 on defense. They got Quinn Evers, who's supposed to be, at least the godsend for them this season before Arch potentially goes there. I think Arch goes to Georgia and pulls a fast one on Texas at the last second. We'll wait to see what happens. That's what I think. But
and they got the best running back in the league.
Oh, by far.
Robinson.
By far. Bajan is a monster. Bajan Robinson
we're
is.
We're only off by 1 win there. No, we're not. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got Texas struggling a little bit, but
I got them at 8-4.
Yeah, you got them struggling a little bit.
What did you get them at?
I got them at 10-2, but it's really just based off of their schedule. I mean, to me, they play a couple of games where they could probably lose. The rest they should win. The couple I'm talking about are they play Alabama at home.
Yeah.
Week 2, they play Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. That's 3 of them that are kind of wishy-washy. And then the last game of the year at home against Baylor.
But they play at Kansas State too.
But that's off a bye, and Texas has won 5 straight against them. So I feel pretty good about that one. It could be a very close game, but I feel pretty good about it. And then the last one that I have in the Big 12 to round it out, they are my champion, Oklahoma, 11-1, and I also have them beating Texas again in the Big 12 championship. Who do you have winning your Big 12 championship? Do you have Baylor winning that also?
Yeah, I got Baylor.
Okay.
I got Baylor beating Oklahoma State.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, sir. We have one conference left, and then we're talking postseason.
All right, what you got?
So we'll start with the South Side. I got Arizona at 2-10. I love their head coach. Absolutely love their head coach, Jed Fish.
Who's that?
Jed Fish. He used to be the offensive coordinator for us, Miami, when Al Golden was our coach before he left us after his first year to go to the Jaguars, I believe, to be their OC, if I remember right. But Jed Fish was like our quarterback's coach. and OC, and he basically changed our offense for a while. He started airing it out. It's fantastic. Awesome. Love Jed Fish. I think he's a very good dude. I think he can turn Arizona around if they give him a chance and they give him time. This is not the year. 2-10 for Arizona. Still love their head coach. Arizona State, I have it 4-8. They have some serious concerns when it comes to their coaching staff. They had pretty much every staff member of their coaching staff leave the staff. So there's new positions pretty much everywhere. They had internal issues. They had recruiting violations over the offseason. There's been a lot of shit going on at Arizona State. They've had player issues where players transferred, like Jaden Daniels, who's now LSU's quarterback. And then after the fact, the players in the locker room, like, trashing the dude's locker and shit. Like, that's not a good sign for team bonding and team
almost as bad as
unity.
the Hawaii mess.
Yeah, so I think Arizona State is going to seriously struggle this year. Herm Edwards is on the hot seat. He'll probably get one more year. I think he should get one more year. I like Herm personally at Arizona State. I think he could do great things with them. But obviously they're fighting through some shit right now. Colorado, I got it 4-8. It's going to be a rough year for them. UCLA, I got it 9-3. I think they're not going to make too many improvements. They got a lot of guys coming back. They got their QB coming back. He's massive, and any success that they're going to have this year, if he does not play, I don't think UCLA is going to do very well. That's Dorian Robinson. But I see him winning 9 games. USC, I see winning 9 games as well. I think they're going to go 9-3. I think people have way too much hype behind them right now with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams and OU's leading wide receiver going. I mean, they might as well, like, if it was already done, I think ESPN would have given them the trophy 3 months ago. So I just don't see it. I think it's going to be Lincoln Riley's team. Lincoln Riley couldn't get it done in Oklahoma with studs. What's the difference with USC?
And they're rebuilding.
Right, and they're rebuilding. I mean, granted, again, they got a bunch of great players from the transfer. When Lincoln Riley got hired, he poached a bunch of guys from his old school Oklahoma, got a couple guys from other places as well to buy into what he's got going on. I just don't think it's there yet. Maybe next year, probably the year after, and USC is back in the top 10, like perennial, but it's going to be a little bit, in my opinion. They're still dealing with what was that guy? Clay Helton, the new head coach at Georgia Southern in Statesboro. They're still dealing with his players and his mess. And the last team I have winning that division at the top, I got Utah, undefeated, 12-0, winning that division. What do you think, Dave? Who do you got?
All right, so let's start at the bottom. And I'm going Colorado Buffaloes on the bottom.
Okay.
At 2-10.
Yep. It's gonna be rough.
I got your boy that you like rebuilding. I got him at 2-10 as well.
Yep.
Arizona State. I have a few comments about Arizona State. I mean, you kind of laid into it, but a couple of interesting tidbits. Their number one receiver for Arizona State is now Gator, just so everyone knows. Number two, we gave them their starting quarterback. Emory Jones is the starting quarterback for Arizona State.
Yep, one of Dave's favorite Gators of all time.
So we took their best receiver and gave them our worst quarterback, which is all good, So I have them at 3-9, and third from the bottom. Then I got UCLA Bruins. So, and I didn't go 9 wins, Mike, because UCLA is only returning 8 players. Granted, they got the QB back, but I don't think they're going to get to 9. I got them at 8-4, but third in that division. Mainly because they don't return enough, and I don't think their defense is that good.
So you said how many they're returning?
They're returning. I have UCLA returning 8. starters.
Yeah, 6 on offense and 2 on defense.
So yes,
Yeah.
so that's pretty rough.
It is.
That's real rough.
It is.
So,
but the good news is, well, for me anyway, is when I was looking at them, I mean, they lost a lot of pieces off that defense. Miami got a couple of them. We got a couple guys from UCLA actually, but they did have some guys transfer in. They had a guy transfer in from Duke. They had another guy transfer in from Alabama, linebacker. So I think their defense will be improved from last year, but like you said, they only got 2 guys. I mean, it's only 2 starters coming back. Where's your identity? Yeah. Who's going to be the leader?
That's rough.
That's stuff they got to figure out pretty quick.
Yeah. The Trojans, I've got it 9-3, so we agree. We agree there. That team last year was 4-8. So 9-3 is an amazing turnaround that we both think they're going to do, but they're not there yet. They've got a lot of pieces they're bringing together. It's a lot. I mean, transfer portal wise, they've got a lot of studs. Obviously, they got a great quarterback coming in, but they're not quite there yet. But I've got them at 9-3, like you do. They're gonna have a good team, but it's the Pac-10, and
right.
There's not a lot of competition out there.
What up, Whitted? We see you in the chat, man.
Pardon me?
We got Whitted in the chat. He's hyping up the Cornhuskers. It's probably he probably didn't see Gator Dave give his analysis about old Nebraska earlier.
No, he did not. Good thing. All right, so
hey, I have faith in y'all this year, Whitted. I have faith. Scott Frost's gonna get it done, man. He's gonna do it. Casey Thompson. Real quick on USC, Dave. So
yeah.
I did want to touch on one thing. Yes, we both have them at 9-3, but they also have, an extremely favorable schedule. They play at Utah, they play at Stanford, at UCLA, and then Notre Dame at home. Other than that, they'll be lucky to play a team that's over 500.
Yeah.
So past those 3-4 games, USC could do it early. They could shock some people. Like us, I guess other people are maybe saying they're going to go weather.
Mike, with a team,
yeah,
piecemealing together,
right.
Granted, by the end of the year, I think they're going to be all right, but I think piecemealing at the beginning of the year is going to be a little tough for them.
Well, I think, the amount of guys that they brought in. Now, granted, they had eight returning starters on offense, right? On defense, they had 3. But on defense, if you look at the guys that they had transfer in, they got a linebacker from Bama. They got a noseback from Oklahoma. They got a corner from Colorado. They got another DT from Auburn. They got starting running back now, Travis Dye, straight out of Oregon. Caleb Williams, obviously from Oklahoma. The wide receiver from Pittsburgh, Jordan Addison. Then they had another wide receiver transfer in from Washington. Then they had the other one transfer in from Oklahoma, Mario Williams, who's an absolute stud.
Is just restock. It's just going to be the redo for
100%. So ultimately, what I'm saying is we do have them at 9-3, but they easily have the talent on that team that if he got them to play, they could go 11-1. They could be in a playoff. They would get waxed because they're a year too early, in my opinion. But they could do it. They definitely could do it.
And of course, I got Utah, but I got them 11-1. I don't know where that loss will be. Of course, I'm going to be praying a lot that it's the first week of the season, but I kind of doubt it will be. But I do have Utah at 11-1, and so that's kind of where we are with that division. You want to hit the next one?
Yeah, for sure. So the North, I got Cal at 2-10. California, they're trash. Don't even bother. That's actually one of my over-under for the win totals that I love this year. I think they're at 5.5 if I remember right. I'll have to look. Love it. Love their under. I got them at 2-10. Oregon State, I have it 2-10 as well. Washington State, I have it 5-7. They're going to lose that last game of the year to Washington in the Apple Bowl or the Apple Cup. and they're going to miss bowl eligibility. Stanford, I have at 7-5. I have Washington at 8-4. So definite improvement from what Washington fans have seen from their team the last couple of years. And then Oregon 8-4. Also Washington, I mean, they finally have a quarterback. This is the first time Washington's had like a legitimate quarterback since Jake Locker. So watch out for the transfer from Indiana. I think he's gonna turn him around and put some fire under him. And then I got Oregon at the top at 8-4. And the only reason I got them over Washington is I think Oregon beats Washington in their head-to-head when they play.
Wow, interesting. So I mean, we're kind of close, but it's scrambled up as well. So I have, interestingly enough, I have my cellar dweller at Washington. Okay?
Whoa.
At 3-9.
Whoa.
They only return 9. And I'm not really hip on returning 9. They were 75th in the nation last year and a record of 4-8. So I've got them at 3-9.
Okay.
California.
I got Washington returning 13. I got them bringing back 8 on offense and 5 on defense, all starters.
I got 5-4. Our sources are mingled.
Gotcha.
Then I got California.
Well, just because they're bringing back a starter doesn't necessarily mean he is starting. So that might be what it is.
California, I have it 5-7, but I'm just not a Pac-12 guy. But I've got them at 5-7, second from the bottom.
Okay.
They were 5-7 last year. Stanford, I have at 5-7. They were 3-9 last year, so they get, 2 more wins. I've got Oregon State at 5-7, which is a regression a bit because last year they were 7-6. I have Washington State at 6-6. Last year they were 7-5. They're only returning 11. And then I've got Oregon. I've got Oregon at 10-2, which is a little bit more than what you've got them at. They're returning 14 players.
Yep.
From last year. So.
Oregon definitely could.
No. Oregon's returning 14, but in terms of talent rankings, they rank 16th in the nation. So. Mm-hmm. I got them at 10-2, and it's the Pac-12. So, and I don't think their schedule's all that. Obviously, they come out of the blocks. They got Georgia. They're going to lose that one.
Right.
And I don't think they play any of the good teams more than one of the good teams over in the other division, do they? Maybe either Utah or USC. That's it.
The tough games that I have for them are Georgia, their opener. Then in week 3 they play BYU at home, which I think that could be a game that if they're not up for, they could slip up. Utah at home, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean so I had them losing to Georgia and Utah. Is all I had them losing to.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. I got them slipping up to BYU and. Yeah. And potentially like a UCLA or somebody like that, like a game that they have no business losing.
Yeah.
Where they just slip up.
And the.
But you have them winning the division though, right?
I have them winning that division and playing Utah and Utah coming out.
Okay. Top. Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately we get to the same spot. We just do it in a different way.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey man, that is the Power 5 conferences. So now we got the glory, the playoff Final Four. Who's your Final Four? We got conference championships, but
should we do our?
Somebody's getting left out.
Let's leave out our Final Four and talk about 5 through. 20.
Oh, you want to do the end like top 10?
Yeah. We'll leave out the 4 and let people be guessing who we got 4.
I love the suspense.
We'll do 5 through 10 because that's how you got laid out. 5 through 10.
Okay.
And then 11 through 25.
All right, we'll start. You start at 10. Give me 5 through 10, going from 10.
Going backwards. So I've got number 10. I've got Oklahoma State at 10-2.
Okay.
A team we haven't talked about at 9. I have Notre Dame at 10-2.
Okay.
At 8, I have Purdue at 10-2. At 8, and then 7, I have Michigan at 10-2.
Ooh.
And then 6, I have Utah at 12-1. And 5, I have Baylor at 12-1. And the reason you got the Michigan and Purdue is that Purdue loses to Ohio State, and it gives Michigan the nudge.
Gives them that bump up.
Yeah.
I got you. I could see some of it.
Yeah, we're all over the place, man.
Yeah, we are. My 10, I got NC State. I got them at 10-2. Number 9, I got LSU. I got them at 10-2. Iowa, I have at number 8 at 11-2. I got Clemson at number 7 at 11-2. I have Miami at 6 at 11-2. And the only reason we're there is because I think we're going to beat them in the ACC championship. I think they'll get us in the regular season, but. And then 5th, I have Oklahoma, 12-1.
Okay.
So that's my 5 through 10. And then Notre Dame, since you mentioned them, I have them at 9-3 this year.
Do you?
I think you said you had you at 10-2.
I'm at 10-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
right.
So you want to name the top 4, and then we'll get to the remainder after that?
I mean, I have a feeling our 4 is going to be pretty similar, honestly.
Yeah. All right, so let's rack back. Let's rack back to give the 25 then, so everybody knows from 25 backwards.
Oh, you want to go all the way?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I got at 25. I got Washington 8-4, Nebraska 24 8-4, 23. I got Florida 8-4, Louisville at 22.
23. Mark that. You have them at 23. Okay.
Yeah,
Just mark that down so I can tell you what I have them at.
I got Florida at 23. Well, you're probably gonna have them at like 12 or something.
I had them at 24, bro. I got them worse than you.
All right, I got Louisville at 22, 8-4. I got Oregon at 21 at 8-4. I got Baylor at 20 at 8-4. I got Wake Forest if Sam Hartman comes back at 19 at 9-3. Penn State 18 9-3. I got 17 Tennessee at 9-3. At 16 I got UCLA 9-3. At 15 I got Ole Miss 9-3. Pittsburgh I got 14 at 9-3. Arkansas I got at 13 9-3. Michigan at 12 9-3. There's a trend here, people. Texas A&M 11. Wait, am I doing that right? I don't know. I may have, my math may be off, folks. I got, or maybe I had them all tied, so there was like a combination. That's probably what it was. Michigan 9-3, Texas A&M 9-3, Notre Dame 9-3, USC, Wisconsin 9-3, Texas 10-3. I have them losing the conference championship against Oklahoma, and then I got Michigan State at 10-2. Rounding out that top. So Michigan State, really, I have sort of like tied for 10th. I have them at 11th. And then the rest are sort of tied, trickling down. But they had the same record, so I threw them in there. Fuck it.
Gotcha. All right.
All right,
So,
give me yours.
25, I have TCU at 8-4.
Okay.
24, I have Florida at 8-4. 23, Ole Miss at 8-4. 22, Texas A&M at 8-4. 21, Iowa at 9-3. 20, USC at 9-3. Number 19, Miami at 9-3. 18, Pittsburgh at 9-3. 17, Wisconsin 9-3. 16, Oklahoma 9-3. 15, Penn State 9-3. 14, Arkansas 9-3, 13, Michigan State 9-3, 12, North Carolina State at 10-2, and 11, I have Oregon at 10-2.
Right on. I think the only – what was your 25?
TCU.
I think the only two teams that we don't have in each other's top 25 is TCU. You have TCU and I have Washington. And then you have Purdue and I have LSU.
Up in the top.
In the top 25. I think other than that, I think our top 25 is –
You don't even have Purdue in your top 25.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
All right. Ching. So Purdue and LSU are outliers big time.
Yeah, Purdue, LSU.
Ranked high. You got them actually in your top 10. LSU in your top.
Yeah, I got LSU in my top 10, and you have Purdue in your top 10. And then in my 25, I have Washington, and at your 25, you have TCU. Yep.
But the big one everybody needs to remember is Purdue and LSU though.
That's a fact.
Right?
That's a
We got
fact.
them in our top 10.
That's a fact. And we have both of them. I have them at 10-2, and you have them at 10-2. So that's if anything, that's our showdown of the top 25 right there.
Yeah, that's our way off the chain.
That's right.
Way left field.
That's come mid-January. We're gonna watch this video again and go,
There you go. So one of us will be saying, watch them both be, up there and be hilarious.
Right. All right.
So, Final Four playoff.
Take us home, Dave.
You go.
You want me to go? All right.
You go.
Well, here, let's do it 1-1. My number 4 is Georgia at 12-1. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Clemson at 12-1.
Nah, it's not happening.
I know
They're gonna run into a freight train that is the Miami Hurricanes.
All right, rah.
My number 3 is Utah at 13-0. I think Utah gets it done.
My number 3 is them Bulldogs at 12-1.
Okay. My number 2 is Ohio State at 13-0.
My number 2 is Ohio State and 13-0.
And my number 1 is Alabama at 13-0.
My number 1 is Alabama at 13-0.
Right on. So I have Alabama playing Georgia in the first game and Ohio State playing Utah. And in those games, I have Alabama beating Georgia to advance to the championship. So I have them beating them twice that year, once in the SEC and then again in the Final Four. And then I got Ohio State beating Utah to go to the championship game. How do yours match up?
I have Alabama beating Clemson in the Final Four.
Okay.
And I have Ohio State beating the Dogs in the semis.
Okay.
To go to Alabama and Ohio State.
To go to Bama, Ohio State. So we both got Bama, Ohio State. Who's winning it all?
I'm going Alabama.
Same. I just think it's their year. It's usually the year that they don't win the Heisman, that's like when they fuck up, and the year that they don't win the Heisman, that's when they actually get it done.
Well,
so
and let me
they're
tell
due.
you, Saban is
He's pissed.
He's out for it this year.
Yeah, he's pissed.
He's out to win it all. He's gonna be number 1 recruiting in 23. Mark my words, because he's pissed at Jimbo for winning last time and cheating.
Only way he does that is if he gives him.
So he's just pissed, and you don't want Saban pissed, and that's where he is. So
That's true.
Unfortunately, it's gonna be Bammer. So
I think so. I think it's Bama's year also. Yep. Scott says Bama goes undefeated. Shout out Valdosta State, Valdese.
there you go.
Who you got winning the Heisman? Is it?
You do. I think last year it was Bama's turn. This year it's C.J. Stroud and Ohio State.
Yep.
I mean, they got the best receiving core, and he's gonna rip it up. So, and they go undefeated all the way to the championship, like we predicted here.
Yep.
I think he's gonna edge it out and win the Heisman.
Yeah, I think he's going to put up crazy numbers. Crazy numbers. Do you have any? So that wraps it up. We did our conferences. We did the playoffs. We did our top 25. We did our Heisman predictions. That wraps up the show. But Gator Dave, do you have any win totals that you want to point out one more time as far as what you think are kind of solid go-tos if anybody's looking at doing something like that before the season starts?
Well, I mean, to me, you got the obvious ones. I mean, most of the pundits are saying that Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State are locks at going and not losing during the regular season. So those to me are definite locks. I still feel pretty strongly, and I don't know where the money is, but I still feel pretty strong about the Big Ten West and Purdue this time. From all the stuff I've read, I think that's a good bet for them to win that division and go 10-2 at this point. So I feel pretty good about that.
Okay. Yeah, they're over under total. Just for those watching, it's 7.5, and Dave's got them at 10 wins. So I would definitely say that's something to. If you're leaning towards that side, I would,
I think it's a great over. The other bet that I think I don't know what the money is, but again we talked a little. I'll be honest with you. I can't wait for the ACC. And I know that's your division. I'm excited at least for those. There's probably 4, 5, 6 teams. I mean, I think the Atlantic's got at least 3 very interesting teams. I think Louisville could be interesting, but I think that's going to be a fun league to really watch this year. I think that if you're looking for an upset, that North Carolina State to win that whole thing, it might be a good bet as well. From all the things that I've read, I think that's a strong team, and I think that people again feel that North Carolina State's never had a great team, but I think this is their year.
Yeah,
and I think there's a very good possibility that they could win it all.
Yep, and their over under for wins is 8.5 right now.
Yeah, so that's probably a good one to lean on that might get you somewhere.
Yep.
So those are mine. What are you thinking?
So the ones that I like a lot are that I want to, I guess, put out there. Iowa over 7.5. I think that's easy money. They don't lose at home, so that gives you 5 wins pretty much off rip right there. I think over 7.5 is easy money. I got them winning 10, 11 games.
I'd agree that. I've even got 9, and with Purdue winning, so
yeah,
that's probably a really good bet.
Yeah, their schedule is super favorable if you look at it. Their tough contests are like Michigan at home, I think, and Wisconsin on the road. Other than that, it's pretty much a cakewalk. So, Utah over 9 wins also. I love it. I think Utah goes undefeated. The Pac-12 is super open this year as far as pretty much they can just run through it. So I love that one. Love that one. And a couple others that I'm sort of going back and forth on now are Cal under 5.5 wins, LSU over 7 wins, Oregon State under 6.5, Michigan State over 7.5, Rutgers under 4.5, Stanford over 4.5, and then Texas Tech under 5.5. I also have some others that I think are more surefire, but at the same time, the number on them is a lot closer to where it should be, in my opinion. Like what we were talking about earlier with NC State, like their number's 8.5. Could easily see them winning 9 games, 10 games, even 11 games. Could also see them winning 8 games. So that, those sort of numbers that sound, Georgia over 10.5. They shouldn't lose a game, and even at that they'd get 11, but it's right there on that cusp. Alabama over 10.5. So if you're feeling a little more confident about some of these more so than another, I would still consider those as strong plays. But to me, it gives a lot of leg room, or it gives a lot of cushion to Vegas to sort of try to sneak in that back door to kind of take it from underneath your feet, in my opinion.
I mean, most of the things that most of the teams you talked about, we have. You were talking about taking the over, and we have them over. Both of us do. So,
right.
You can't go wrong if both of us have them over, right?
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting, too, to go back and look at, the similarities between the two. We may have to put something together between the two of us, see if we can't get a big, beefy parlay going to start the year. Maybe a future to look out for later on, maybe some conference championships and stuff.
Yep.
But all right, Gator Dave, that's our preview show, man. Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, we got to remind everybody to subscribe to get ripped, right? Collectibles, so that you can get our reminders when we're online.
Absolutely.
Next week, Mike, we're recording on Monday, right? Because of our schedule change, right?
So we won't be live for week 1. But we will be the show will still be on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m.
Okay.
It won't be live next week for week 1. Week 2 will be live again, but the show will still be released Thursday at 7:30. So you can have that to look forward to. Have you looked into week 0 at all? The games that are this week? Have you looked at any of those games?
No, I'm just not ready for week 0 because there's no.
Yeah, I'm not.
There's not a whole lot of games that are really, that there's a line on.
Yeah.
And that, to me, the 2 games that obviously are the Nebraska Northwestern game interests me.
Right.
And then obviously the Florida State Duquesne game,
right.
just to see what
they do. Yeah.
If they can,
if they beat them like they should. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
If they don't beat them like dogs, then it's going to be a rough year for sure. So
yeah, next week they got LSU.
The only 2 that really jump out at me is even games of interest.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not looking at any games necessarily this week to get on or anything like that. I'm just happy college football is back. I'm sort of taking that. I'm gonna take this weekend, absorb it, and get it all in, and then next week it's pedal to the metal. We're back in it.
Yep. And I think I've got, there's not a lot of games
for
week 1, but I've got like 9 or 10. We'll obviously look at this weekend during the fantasy football weekend.
Yep.
So we can have a look and decide on the games we're gonna talk about next week, and remind everyone that next Thursday 7:30 we'll be airing the show and putting out what our thoughts are. For that week 1.
For sure.
And we obviously appreciate everyone that is listening live or listening to the playback. And again, hit that subscribe button so you know when we're on, and it'll remind you to have a look at the show each week. So appreciate everybody being on. Mike, anything else?
No, you said it, Dave. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that bell next to subscribe so you get those notifications. Make sure to like the video. Drop a comment in. We did have a giveaway going, so whoever responded in the chat, I will get that to you. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat today. You're awesome. Let's keep it going next week. And yeah, I think that's it, Dave. I think we've wrapped it up. 2022, here we come.
Yep, looking forward to it, and finally, go Gators.
There you go. It's good to. It's not good to hear that, but it's good to hear it again. I'll just say that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Mike.